Welcome back to Shades of College Football, and for those of you who don't know, I'm a big uniform guy. Shout out to Anthony Thomas and those beautiful old Oregon jerseys. On a serious note, there are 18 teams that we know of that will have new uniforms for the 2025 college football season, and today we're going to look at all of them, and I'll give each of them a grade. Let's get it. First team we're going to start with is Boston College. They are the only FBS team to use New Balance for the uniforms, which is pretty notable, I guess. What they did with New Balance is go back to their 80s uniforms. This is when they had Doug Flutie. You can tell by the stripes on the shoulder, and I think overall it's pretty clean. There's a lot of traditional uniform elements with the block numbers, the old logo, only one helmet and one pair of pants, with one exception. We'll get to that in a second. I think it looks pretty clean. I don't think it's outstanding. This is pretty similar to what we've seen from Boston College with Adidas and Under Armour before. So I will give these just a 5 out of 10. Moving past that, though, there are other Boston College uniforms. The special red bandana uniforms, just a great tradition, and I'm so glad that Boston College is continuing this with New Balance. The uniforms themselves are not my favorite in the red bandana line. I do think that it's really cool. I'm not sure if you could see it in this picture, but the Boston College logo actually has that red bandana print on it. You see more of the red bandana elements on the sleeves of the jersey and in between the stripes. I think it looks okay. I just think that what Adidas and Under Armour, really Adidas though, did with the red bandana uniforms just looks better and hurts these by comparison. Again though, you have to love the meaning and the message behind the red bandana uniforms, and I'm going to say that these are a 7 out of 10. Georgia Tech got some new uniforms too. They are continuing with Adidas, and something I don't like with Adidas, it feels like every single time an Adidas school gets new uniforms, they switch the actual uniforms as well. They can't just go from one template to another without switching anything up, which I really don't think is a good practice by Adidas. I really liked what Georgia Tech had before. The two stripes were pretty unique, having two different colors there, and instead Georgia Tech replaced that with two stripes of the same color. Starting with the whites, I do think the white looks pretty good. The white and gold just always looks good. The big problem though is just the removal of navy. There are no navy uniforms at all. All the navy elements, all the areas where there probably should be navy, like the Adidas logo, the ACC logo, the jersey trim, the jersey number trim, those are all a charcoal gray. And if you look, Georgia Tech also has a charcoal gray jersey, which I think looks pretty good as an alternate, but I don't think that's worth getting rid of your blue jerseys, a color that you've always had and looks pretty good. I don't love the blue jerseys just because Georgia Tech looks so good in white or maybe gold, but just having the blue accent colors work really well. Speaking of the gold, I think the gold jerseys are really sharp. I think we've started to see a little bit more of gold jerseys. Charlotte's an example of a school that had gold. UCF had it before. I think it looks really, really nice. I like the more metallic gold stripe as well. I think this looks pretty good, but again, it would be even better if instead of that charcoal gray, we had more navy. Overall, I'm going to say the set is probably, I want to say a 5 out of 10, maybe 5.5. But if you just replace that gray with navy, it would be so much better, probably 8.5. The last ACC team to talk about is Louisville. It seems like they get new uniforms every 3 years. They're one of the schools that Adidas puts a lot of care into. A couple of years ago, more than a couple of years ago now, but mid-2010s, they were getting all sorts of new stuff. What they have now is a more simple design, I guess. You don't have the really large drop shadows. You don't have the bird wings like you had in 2024 and before that. And I think it's okay. It's kind of all over the place in my opinion. So something that Adidas is doing just really to be different, I think, is with the stripes. So the stripes don't go down all the way. Most stripes, they touch down at the bottom of the jersey. these cut off a little bit below that. Another thing that is different is if you look at the shoulder stripes, this also might be something we might see with more Adidas uniforms. I think Mississippi State's uniforms and their shoulder stripes looked similar to this last year. They don't stop at, say, a vertical line. They come in at an angle. Again, I think that's an intentional design choice. If you look at the Louisville word mark on the chest, again, it's very slanted. The numbers have some weird angles too, so I guess Louisville wanted to have some continuity with it, which I think that's a pretty cool concept to have, and it is cool to have more unique uniforms. We don't want everybody walking around with the same 3 stripes that Nike always does for their uniforms, it seems like. So that is cool, but it may not look the best. I don't know. We'll have to see it on the field. What I do think is really cool, you can't get a great view of it at all, unfortunately, but the red helmet, Louisville did use these last year as well. Sometimes it's their bird, their cardinal. It's a throwback inspired logo of him running with the football. I think that is really cool. Think what Big Red does with Western Kentucky, but in a more serious way. I really love those helmets. I think they're the best part. Other thing of note for the uniforms, on those stripes I was talking about, there is a small little fleur-de-lis pattern, which, again, I don't think you'll see that watching on TV or anything, but that is a pretty cool feature to have. You can tell Adidas really cares about Louisville, and I think these are pretty good uniforms. I will say 7.5. Charlotte got some new uniforms. My first thought with these is they did something that UAB did, I believe, just last year. They are a team that is known for wearing green and gold. They got rid of the gold almost completely. If you look at their white jerseys, you can see a little bit of it on the American logo, but that is it. There's also a black Nike swoosh inside of a green one, which does not look very good in my opinion. Overall, though, I think it's okay, the uniforms, but I don't know why you are getting rid of one of your primary colors, especially for being the 49ers, you know. There's such a strong connection to gold there. Like, imagine if the San Francisco 49ers just wore just white and red jerseys, you know? That wouldn't look very good, in my opinion. I think everything's really clean. I do like the bricks on the helmet, and Charlotte will be keeping their gold uniforms from last year, so that is nice at least, but I think this is an unnecessary rebrand. It really makes Charlotte look like Ohio, who they just hired Ohio's coach, Tim Albin. I'm going to say these are a 3 out of 10 uniforms. I'm a big fan of Temple's new uniforms, man. First off, the diamonds are really cool. It is something very unique to Temple, and they are truly embracing it with their uniforms. If you look at their helmet stripe, it's a bunch of diamonds. If you look on their collar, a bunch of diamonds. And I think the implementation of the diamonds worked a lot better this year. Their old uniforms, they had a bunch of small diamonds on their sleeves instead of basically stripes. They just put a bunch of diamonds there, which I don't think that looked very good. I also don't think that the very large Temple word mark and numbers work very well. These are a little bit more traditional, and I think they fit so much better. I think the white and the red is a very clean combination too. They work well together, and Temple's also differentiating themselves from other schools with a similar color scheme, like Oklahoma and Indiana, Alabama. It's still traditional looking. It looks pretty, it has some modern elements though. It's unique. I think these are very clean uniforms. I'm going to say an 8 out of 10 here. Washington's up next. They are pretty simple uniforms, just 3 stripes on the shoulders. You got stripes going down the helmet too, but it's just clean football. It's clean Washington uniforms. They're not doing the purple on purple stripes like they did the last couple of years now. I think these are just really clean. That's the big thing here. The purple and gold work very well together. They complement each other pretty well. Washington does have some good variety with the pants at least. They have gold and purple pants. No white, unfortunately. It sounds like they will be adding more uniforms later. Adidas always comes out with some alternate. One thing that I'm not a huge fan of is the pant stripes, similar to Louisville. Theirs don't go down all the way. I don't know why you would do that, to be honest. I don't think it looks nearly as good as it could. I think these are some nice uniforms, though. Washington did pretty good. I'm going to say 7 out of 10. So my first thought of these Arizona State uniforms is nothing is different. That is what I first thought. Looking into it a little bit more, the Arizona State word mark, that is new, and the numbers got moved from the jersey sleeve to, on top of the shoulders, and that is about it, at least for their primary uniforms. Arizona State has already teased that there will be more. They always use some crazy stuff. One thing I really do like with these uniforms, especially the yellow helmets, is the Sparky logo. It's the classic one there. It looks so good. It just fits Arizona State so well. Their white helmets, they do just have a trident going across. It looks fine, and I guarantee you Arizona State will come out with more crazy helmets and some crazy alternates. They do all sorts of stuff. I'm a big fan of these, though. Again, they're pretty simple, but Arizona State already has some good uniforms. I'm going to go with a 6 on, I'll bump it up to a 7. Give me 7 on these. Cincinnati's up next. Look, I like their old uniforms that they had from switching to Nike. I like their uniforms with Under Armour when they made the playoffs, too. Black and red is just always looks good. It's pretty hard to mess that up, but I think Cincinnati took it up a notch. I think the black is really clean. The Cincinnati word mark across the chest is awesome. I love the new word mark as well for the numbers. I think those look really cool. It's unique. The shoulder stripes are really cool as well. Black and red, again, works really well together, and it's unique with the C logo in the middle. I just think it all looks really clean. The red uniforms is where I get a problem with them, and it's because it just says Cincy on the chest instead of Cincinnati. I just think having Cincinnati, this may be a nitpick, it just looks better. It keeps everything consistent. Overall, though, these are very nice uniforms. I think these are the best ones we've looked at yet. I want to say 9 out of 10 here. You know, Houston's old uniforms never did anything for me, really, for a long time. The blues that they had recently were pretty cool, but other than that, it's just pretty basic, just red and white, and a lot of teams do red and white. These are really nice, though, from Houston. Just starting off, I love the word mark that they chose right there. Their basketball team's been using it. It's unique. It seems retro-inspired. It looks good, too. That's just what matters the most. It's a pretty clean design otherwise, just straight red and white. The numbers in the sleeve, in the stripe on the side is nice. I like the collar as well. I think that all looks really good with the red and the white. The H-Town uniforms, the blue and the red, just looks so good. It's awesome. I think blue and red, baby blue and red, works so well. Just honoring the Oilers very well. Great uniforms for Houston. I think the addition of the blue uniforms bumped them up to a 7.5. I love these uniforms for UCF, man. They combined a bunch of great elements from past UCF uniforms. The numbers themselves are a combination. The drop shadow of 1998, the notches from 2013, some more of the edges and the tones from when UCF just joined the Big 12, the big numbers from 2016 to 2021. That all looks so cool. I think additionally black and gold works really well together, obviously. UCF is keeping the really clean helmets. They're keeping 3 stripes on the pants, which is pretty unique. They have oversized Pegasus wings on the sides that are kind of hard to see but look really cool. It's a nice detail. I think all these are really cool. Makes for a really nice uniform. And the Big 12 overall, they might be the best dressed conference. Might be a hot take, though. 8 out of 10 right here. West Virginia's up. They are keeping their primary uniforms, but we got 2 things to talk about with the Mountaineers. Number 1 is their throwback uniforms. I'm not a big fan of these. My first thought is they kind of look like Navy with that deeper, darker blue and some of an old gold. The helmet is really nice, though. I especially love that logo. The blue, the light blue outline of West Virginia, the WVU running across it. That looks really cool. But overall, I'm just not a big fan of the throwbacks. On the other hand, the new gloss helmets replacing the matte that they've used for a while, this just feels like West Virginia football, especially with Rich Rod coming back. Those are the same helmets that his teams used to wear. I'm glad West Virginia's going back to it. I don't hate the matte as much as some people do, and I still think matte helmets look good. The team does matter for this, though. Overall, I think these are really nice uniforms for West Virginia. Love the helmet. I'm going to say overall, the helmet's just going to add to that jersey so much. Overall, it will be brought down a little bit because of the throwbacks, but two fantastic helmets here. I can't make it that low. I'm going to say 5 out of 10.
Hawaii is the latest team to unveil their new uniforms. I couldn't even find any good pictures of it yet. I do apologize for using this pretty blurry screenshot, but looking at the actual uniforms, I think they're pretty solid. I don't love the black and the green, but I think it works pretty well overall. I like the details. There's definitely some care put into these uniforms by Nike, which is something you don't always see. They kind of remind me of what Hawaii was wearing in the late 2010s with Under Armour, and overall these are, again, pretty solid. I'm going to say 6 out of 10 uniforms. San Diego State updated their uniforms. They're very similar to what they had before. The helmets look identical. The stripes on the pants and on the sleeves look very similar as well. They still use that same fantastic pattern. A couple things that I notice are different is, first, it looks like there's a new pair of white pants for San Diego State, which they haven't had in a while. They got rid of the San Diego State name off the chest, and they added red collars. Overall, they're very clean uniforms. What San Diego State does is very unique. It looks really cool. I'm going to say these are 7 out of 10s.
Auburn got some new uniforms. They are basically the same. The only difference is they have a Nike swoosh now instead of an Under Armour logo. I'm going to say these are a 7.5 out of 10. I really like Auburn's uniforms. They are so classic. They look so good. Let's keep them moving, though. Tennessee unveiled their latest smoky gray uniforms, and I'm not a fan of these, to be honest. I don't love the two-tone gray. The helmets are really cool. Has the same Smoky Mountains outline underneath, but I don't like the stripes, and I don't like the stripes really on anywhere on the jersey. That includes on the sides of the sleeves. I don't think the numbers look very good either. I do have to give Tennessee a lot of credit for being a powerhouse, a traditional brand that actually likes to try new things, make new uniforms, and do things other than just throwbacks or a blackout. I think that is really cool. With that being said, I think they missed the mark here. These might be the weakest uniforms that I've seen yet this year, and I'm actually going to say these are a 2 out of 10. I just love the concept behind it. I love some of the old smoky gray uniforms they had. I just don't like the execution here. Marshall is one of those schools that I didn't really feel like needed new uniforms. I really like the set that they currently had. It is an upgrade over what they were doing in the 2010s. It's just clean, it's simple, and a lot of that was luckily carried over to these new uniforms. One of the things that I think is really cool, I do like the sleeves on them a lot, or I like the collars too. I think it's a unique number font, which, again, I always love to see as long as it looks good. I just think it's pretty clean. It reminds me of SMU with the stripes, just a green and black version of that. Helmet's always going to be awesome. It's Marshall. You can't go wrong with them. It seems like good uniform. 7 out of 10 for Marshall. Those are all the officially unveiled new uniforms, but there is some more to talk about. First, Rutgers has switched to Nike, and Nike uniforms are pretty similar, almost identical to what they had with Adidas. The biggest difference there is the word mark. The word mark looks like it's taking up less space. The old Rutgers word mark felt like it went from one side of the jersey to the other. This one's a little smaller and centered. Overall, though, it's more of the same like we've seen from Rutgers. They do have black uniforms. In College Football 26, the new video game, is where this is all coming from. 5 out of 10 for Rutgers. You can also find Central Michigan's new uniforms in College Football 26. The thing with their new uniforms is they are very retro inspired. They are very simple. They don't look bad at all. They kind of remind me of the Washington Redskins' old uniforms, or the new uniforms that the Commanders just brought back, especially the pant stripes being with the white stripe and the yellow stripe right next to each other. Very simple uniforms. One thing that I noticed, I'm not sure if this is just a bug in the game or an actual distinct change, the Central Michigan logo on the helmet is pretty small. Again, I'm not sure if when Central Michigan unveils their uniforms we're going to see that. Time will tell, though. Overall, I'm going to say these are 5 out of 10. They're pretty basic uniforms. They're not bad, though. Last school that we have to talk about today is Mississippi State. They unveiled some new uniforms last year, which weren't very good, in my opinion. The maroon uniforms look like they're going to stay the same. White will see some differences, though. The stripes are kind of at an angle similar to the Louisville jerseys we talked about earlier. Keep in mind, this is a leak. This may not even be an actual game jersey, so just keep that in mind. The SEC logo and Adidas logo are kind of huge, especially that SEC logo, and the numbers are very plain. There's no pattern on the numbers anymore. There's not even a stripe or anything on the outside either. These are fine. I don't have strong opinions on them. They are very plain, and I don't love that, but I don't hate it either. It's just a plain jersey. What is pretty interesting, again, I'm not sure if these jerseys are real, but these gray jerseys that are absolutely horrible. I mean, a saving grace is, again, this really looks like it's not meant for players to actually wear. This just looks like something for the fans, so maybe what they actually come out with will be better. Maybe this isn't even an actual football jersey. I don't know. But this looks really bad. Just saying state on there in a kind of weird font. It looks like it's, I don't know what the technical term for this is, but the state text is wider at the bottom and gets narrower as it goes up. I don't think it looks good. The numbers are so plain. It's a different number font completely. I really hope that we don't see Mississippi State wear these jerseys. The white ones are not good themselves. I'll say that's a 4 out of 10, but these Mississippi State jerseys are absolutely horrendous. They are a 0 out of 10. Never wear these again, Mississippi State. So that will be it. Those are the 18 teams with uniforms so far. Again, we know that Arizona State's going to come out with new uniforms. We're going to see some other teams as well. If we get enough of them, maybe I could do a part 2. We'll cross the road when it comes to that point. Regardless, I want to thank you guys all for watching if you're still here. And you guys have a great day.